boy meets girl in the school corridor. Girl crashes into the boy and her books fall, and the boy picks up the books for her, and then their eyes meet and blah blah blah. Not true. Hey guys, how are you today? I'm having a very lovely day, and yeah, it's been a busy week, but the semester is over, so yeah, I have some time to play around, and I think I'm going to make like bulk videos. Like I'll just make videos and edit them, and just post weekly. Today's video is going to be a fun one. So I have been in the US for quite a while now, and I decided to talk about things that I've noticed about Americans that I didn't know from movies, like things that I didn't know before coming here. I feel like a major part of our exposure to the lifestyles of people from other cultures are from the media. So basically they show us what they want to show us. So having lived with Americans for a while, here are some of the things that I've noticed. First of all, the lifestyle difference. So you know how now I'm comparing it to the Nigerian lifestyle, okay? So in case it's different in your country, just let me know in the comment section. So you know how having a car is a symbol of wealth in Nigeria? Well, having a car is a necessity here. So you need cars. In some places the transportation system is not very good, like especially with public transportation, so you basically need to have a car. And another thing is they get to buy cars on loans, like you can pay instrumentally. That service is available to them. I'm aware that that service is now available to Nigerians, but I looked it up and the credit rate is high. Like you are going to pay a lot. I don't know if people are going to start embracing it now, but at least it's in Nigeria now, so maybe there'll be a company that would give better credit rates. Another thing is expensive phones, shoes, and all that stuff. You can also buy that on credit. You can even pay for a vacation on credit. You are going to pay instrumentally. So even as an international student, you have access to these things. Like you can buy a car or a phone, or Nike shoes, like expensive stuff, like latest designers. You can buy all that. They just need to see your credit score. They just need to be sure that you have a good credit record. So basically a credit score is what they use to examine how well you manage your credit. So when you borrow money, do you pay back on time and all that stuff? That's like a brief summary of what a credit score is. So this is something they also have. So basically if you see someone with this like luxury items, don't envy them, okay? Some people buy it outrightly. So I'm not saying everyone buys and pays instrumentally. Some buy outrightly, but a lot of times it's something that you can pay for instrumentally. These services are available in almost every area. Even with changing the windows in your house or changing doors, like these services are available for so many things. So you just have to be very careful not to get into debt. So if you're someone that likes the extravagant lifestyle, be careful, make sure you can afford it. Another thing I noticed is the way they apologize. So if for instance you are walking and someone trips and fall, now as a Nigerian you're definitely going to tell that person sorry, right? So if you say sorry, they'll be like, oh, it's not your fault. I had to explain it to some people and say in Nigeria, sorry means sorry that's happening to you. We're not saying sorry it's my fault, because they'll say, oh, it's not your fault, or they'll say, oh, you're fine. And I was like, no, I'm actually saying sorry you fell, like sorry that happened to you. I know it's not my fault, but I am saying sorry because that sucks. So yeah, so if you come here and you say sorry to someone, they're telling you, oh, it's not your fault. Yeah, that's how they react to sorry a lot of times. Another thing you should know is that if someone invites you for lunch or even for a birthday party, you are paying for your meal. Now, if they're having a party in their house, well, you're not paying for your meal because the meal is already provided. But if you're invited to a restaurant for, let's say, a birthday dinner, please go with your money. Okay, it's different from how you do it in Nigeria. In Nigeria, the celebrant will pay for everybody's meal and all that. Yeah, it's different here. So please go with your money. When you're done eating, you pay for your food, and you should also come with gifts for the celebrants. Okay, yes, I know we give gifts to celebrants in Nigeria, so do the same. Come with gifts for the celebrants and come with money to pay for your food. Otherwise, you will wash plates. Eh? Another thing I recently discovered is that they have something called a wedding registry. So if someone is getting married, they would prepare a registry online. Let's say they would sign up with a store. So my friend really explained this to me, so now I can explain it to you guys. But if you need more info, go to an American and ask questions, or just go to Google. So let's say, for instance, they sign up with Amazon. So they're going to scan everything they need and put it on their registry. So it's like an online source. It's like an online page anyway, like a web page, and everything they need is going to be there. For example, if you want plates, if you want like pressing iron, if you want blender, everything is going to be there. So if someone is coming for your wedding, they are just going to go to that web page and then choose what they are going to buy. It's that easy, and they can just like pick it and pay, and so that way you're not bringing frying pan to them if they already have 10 frying pans in their house. I'm like, wow, that's so interesting. I didn't know about a registry. So it was so nice to learn that, like, wow, that's really interesting. I assume you already know this by now, but if you don't, Americans are individualistic. I'm not going to generalize. I feel like there are some that might be more like community oriented, but majority of them are individualistic. They plan for themselves. Like, I'm not saying this as a bad thing, I'm just saying it as a cultural difference. So in case you come and you feel like, oh, this person doesn't care about you, well, it's the culture. Like, you tend to look out for yourself. Okay, so yeah, that's one cultural difference. I learned that after a while of staying here, and so just trying to understand the culture, and the culture shock will be minimal. It's not like you won't experience it, but it's going to be minimal, and you'll be able to explain some things to yourself. Like, when it happens, you're like, oh, I know why this is happening. Oh, that makes sense. So research. Another thing Americans do is they text a lot. You know how when you need an urgent answer, you call someone in Nigeria, like, let's say you are looking for your keys, and you just call someone and say, I need to find my keys, where are they? I'm outside your house or something. Americans text. So if you're someone that doesn't check your text, well, that's going to be interesting. So I've learned to start checking my text messages, because normally I feel like if you really want to reach me, then you should call me, right? Like, if you need something urgently, you should call me. I still tell my Nigerian friends, if you need something urgently, call me, because I'm not going to be checking my text all the time. But yeah, they text a lot. That's how they communicate. They hardly call. Like, when they call you, it's like maybe really, really important. But I'm just trying to think, like, how many times have I spoken to an American on the phone? Like, they text a lot, basically. Like, important information, it's all text. Another interesting thing I discovered is that you can return items as long as the tag is still on them. I've seen it in movies, but it was actually interesting to see it play out in reality. Even if you've been with it for, let's say, more than 2 weeks, you can still return those items. And some people take advantage of this, which is not nice, but you can return items. And one time there was this advert that I saw online. I think I bought cream from one company, body cream, and they were like, if you don't like the cream, you can return the empty bottle and you will get refunded. I was like, wow, really? Yeah, so it's so interesting. Like, you buy a dress, as long as you don't take the tag out, you can return it. It's like renting for free. I won't advise you to do that though, because but yeah, you can return items as long as the tag is on there. Well, customer service. Building off the customer service topic, these people are big on customer care. Like, if your order is messed up, let's say you go to a restaurant and you order a certain meal and they didn't give you the right thing, even if it's like something little that's different, they might just give you a full refund or give you a different plate and you can keep the old plate. Yeah, like, they are so big on customer care, which I think makes a lot of sense, because to get people to come back, you have to treat them right, you know. So yeah, they are really, really good with that. Like, they pay attention to customer care. They are very good in that aspect. I wouldn't say all companies are, but many of them are very good with customer care. One time I went to a restaurant and I ordered waffles, and it took time for me to receive my order, and I got an extra plate of waffles as an apology, just because, you know, the food was not ready on time. I was like, wow, next time I come to order waffles, take your time. Another thing is the way they eat steak. Like, if you go to a restaurant to order steak is meat. If you go to a restaurant to order steak, they would ask you if you want it well cooked. And initially I was like, why are you asking me this question? I don't want my meat to be red. I want it to be well cooked. I want it to be very, very cooked. Why am I coming to a restaurant to eat meat and you're asking me if I want it well cooked? I was surprised, but apparently some people like to eat their steak, like, not raw per se, like, but not too cooked. Like, they want it to be like, to kind of look a bit raw and not too cooked. And I was like, in Nigeria, we boil our meat before frying it, before throwing it back into the stew. That is how much cooking the meat receives. So no, I don't want raw meat. Please cook it very well. Cook it. Even with egg, like when you're ordering fried eggs, they'll ask you how you want it. Like, should it be well fried? Americans are very interested. Even in sandwiches, you would see turkey that looks like it's not cooked. I don't know how they cook it. I don't know how they cook it, but it looks raw. Like, it was a culture shock. So it's quite interesting to see that. So when you come and you see something like that, don't be surprised. That's how they eat their meat. There are some people who like well cooked meat, obviously, because why would they be asking if you want well cooked? It depends on your preference, basically. Another interesting thing that I noticed about Americans is that they ask for consent before posting your pictures online. So in many of the events that I've attended, we usually sign consent forms to show that we agree to be photographed, and we agree that if these pictures are going to be posted online, we are fine with that. So yes, so you're agreeing to be photographed and you're agreeing to them posting your pictures online. It's mostly school events anyway, not like weddings and all that. No, like mostly school events. But how many events in your school did you go to that they said, come and sign consent form, or we're going to post your pictures online, we want to be sure you're okay with that? So I was like, wow, that's good, like getting consent, because not everybody would want their pictures to be online. And so if you don't want your pictures to be online, you can refuse to sign and you won't be photographed, or even if you are photographed, those pictures won't be posted. So yeah, I like how they are conscious of laws and, you know, consent. Another thing is they get married early. I think it's the way the economy is set up. Like, after high school, you can, you know, just start working. You should be able to fend for yourself. I'm not saying it's all rosy, but the way it's set up, it's in a way whereby you can start a family as early as 18 if you are determined to, if you can, you know, pull it off. So if both the wife and husband are working, they should be able to start a family. so they tend to get married early. So don't be surprised if you see someone who is 23 talking about being married. Well, that is very normal. Another thing is Americans are very expressive. That is something I like about them. They are very expressive. Like, it's rare for you to find an American who is secretive. And I feel like, you know how they say a closed mouth is a closed destiny? I feel like that's a good thing. A lot of times they are very expressive about what's going on. Like when you ask someone, how are you today? You know, the normal response is I'm fine. But in a lot of cases, you see people who would actually tell you how they are on that day, and then, you know, if they need help with something, they're going to talk about it. Or if something is going on in their family and they just need to talk to someone, they're going to talk about it. You know how we Africans tend to, you know, keep family business in the family? They don't do that so much. So based on training, it's going to be quite different for you. Like in my first class, one of my first classes, someone was talking about how someone was talking about her family, and I was very surprised, like, should you be talking about your family out here? But then everyone is talking about their family, everyone is talking about their personal life. So it might be something you're uncomfortable with. You really don't have to share so much about your personal life if you don't want to. It's just how they are. Like, they tell each other things, and that way, you know, there's this relationship. Imagine telling your lecturer that you can't come to class because your boyfriend's at the airport. Yes, people do it. So like, they talk about things that you think should be personal, and you know, it makes communication more open to them. Another thing you should know about Americans is that both girls and boys pay for dates. Okay, you know, as a Nigerian girl, you're expecting that whenever you go on a date, he has to pay all the time. Well, I mean, it's quite different here. The girl can pay, the boy can pay, or they can split the bills. I presume that is something you already know. It's real, just so you know. And another interesting thing I'm going to add is that forget what you see in the movies, okay? You know how the movies go, like boy meets girl in the school corridor, girl crashes into the boy and her books fall, and the boy picks up the books for her, and then their eyes meet and blah blah blah. Not true. Not true. In America, many times boy meets girl online and they decide if they should see in person. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, and don't forget to like. I'll be bringing you more contents next week, and in 2 weeks, and in 3 weeks. I'm going to sustain this weekly posting, like at least for this year. I'm going to sustain it. I'll try. So I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful week. Bye.